We are with Ita Warshavchik. I am Carolyn Richmond. We are in New York, in the United States of America, and today's interview will be in English. Today is February 25th, 1996. We are with Ita Warshavchik, maiden name Spiro. I am Carolyn Richmond. We are in New York, in the United States of America, and today's interview will proceed in English. Do you state your name?
Ita Warshavchik.
And how do you spell your name?
Warshavchik.
And what was your name at birth?
Spiro. Spiro.
And when were you born?
September 25th, 24.
In what town?
Warta.
How do you spell Warta?
Warta.
And what country was it in?
This is County Lodge.
And is that where you grew up?
I grew up in Warta.
And what were your parents' names?
My mother's name was Rivka, maiden Henderless.
And your father?
My father was Anshel Spiro.
And what about your brothers and sisters? What were their names?
The names, the oldest, my brother Avram, my sister Golda, then Ita, and the youngest Sharna.
What was it like growing up in Warta
Before the war,
before the war?
Warta was a beautiful town and surrounded with villages. In the 30s, I went to school, and my parents was merchants, and from this, through this, we survive, make a living.
What type of merchants were they?
They was selling certain things which mostly the people in the villages came in, and they was buying, like heavy woolen things with fringes for the winter instead of coats.
Like
Also medium in dressy size of kerchief woolen, and for horses blankets, and winter underwear for men, and covers for beds.
where did you live?
I lived in the Ulica. The name of was Gurna 19.
19 Gorna?
Yeah.
What was it a house or an apartment?
No, it was an apartment.
What was your apartment like?
Our apartment, we had two neighbors on the same floor and a combined balcony. And in the balcony, I could watch all seasons of the year, how beautiful it was, a flower and fruit garden. So I enjoyed each season watching nature. And flowers are very important to me because it reminds me of my youth.
What type of flowers were there?
Mostly was roses, red and natural color.
What was your family's home like inside?
We had an apartment, two very big rooms, and was nice, comfortable. Also, my mother's father, I remember, and he was with us.
What was his name?
Herschel. And when he passed away, I think I was 4 years old, because my younger sister's cradle was there, I remember. So the difference in the years, I can realize that I was 4 years old.
Do you remember anything about your grandfather?
Yeah,
What?
my mother was taking nice care of him, always with a white shirt, and she was brushing his hair. He had a white beard, and he was never sick. So only he got older. So it happened one day.
Did you have a religious family?
Very religious. In fact, my father was Hasidic background. He was a Gerer Husser. In the younger years, he used to go to Ger, to the Rebbe, and this gave strength for a whole year to exist.
What do you remember about the holidays at your home?
The holiday. Yeah, the holiday was very beautiful, and Shabbos also. Sometimes my people came through our town, so they came into the synagogue, and whoever wanted could take home a guest. So I remember sometimes we had 2 guests, and there was enough food for everyone.
What kind of food did your mother prepare?
My mother prepares for festivities different than every day, and very good.
Like what do you remember?
What kind? Similar like here.
Did you help prepare the food?
No, I was very busy. I went to public school, and then I went to private school, Beth Jacob. So with the homework and all, it was, I was quite busy.
What do you remember about school, at public school?
Yes. School was very good, strict, but there was already some trouble because we felt it as Jewish children, we felt it in the air that the people are very, very much influenced and dependent on the church, because many of the people didn't have exactly their own opinion. So there was already some trouble, and this, we hoped for a better tomorrow always. And this is how I grew up.
Was it a Jewish town, or what was your
Yeah,
town
there
like?
there was maybe 2,000 Jewish families, and around there was villages, I will say 30,000 people. And Lodz was the county, a big city, textile.
So what did you do? Did you ever have time to play? Or
Yes, yes.
what did you do?
I like to play ball, jumping rope, and running
Who did you play with?
with my younger sister and the children who lived around.
Were there a lot of children?
There was some, not only Jewish, we played together. It was a very big area where we could play.
Where was that?
This was in the front of the building. It was a big area we could play.
Did you go to temple a lot?
In the big holidays, only the children went Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But my mother went every week to the synagogue. And my father went to the shtibel. And when I was small, I used to run with my father
To where?
to the shtibel.
What do you remember about that?
Yeah, that a lot of people bring their children, and the atmosphere was very nice, warm, and sometimes I got a pinch in my cheek from some of the friends with my husband. So I said to my father, please tell the man it hurts. So
Do you
this-
remember any of the friends from?
what I had,
Yes.
yeah.
Who-
In the same street lived a family, also the same type. They was also a merchant, they had a store. And I was friend with one of their daughters.
Do you remember their name?
There was really 3 girls. Her name was Sharna, and her sister survived, and I'm in contact with her. She lives in now by her daughter in Rockaway.
What else do you remember about the synagogue? What did the synagogue look like?
The synagogue, excuse me. The synagogue was a very large size, and this was a place everybody could come in, whoever. This was for everybody. And once you came in, you felt good.
What did it look like inside?
Inside was very nice. The Torah was there covered by the beam, and the woman was upstairs, and the man downstairs.
Do you remember the rabbi?
The rabbi, there was, in Europe was different. We had a roof. A roof, it meant for everything. Like, I just happened to read lately an article about this, and it refreshed my memory that we had a very chushiv person, the roof. So a whole week he prayed in the synagogue with all the people. But on Shabbos, he came into the shtib.
What do you remember about your education, and what did you study at school?
Oh, we was inspired to read every week the library. So
Did you go every week?
I did.
What did you like to read?
I read different things in poetry, and by 11 already I read Quo Vadis Domine. And when I came here, the movie was familiar to me with the story.
Do you remember any of your teachers?
Yes.
What were they like?
Well, we had men and also women. The teachers was very nice. I never had any trouble. I obeyed, I behaved. And if somebody started up, we was allowed to tell the teacher. So far as I remember, the teacher did not like when somebody made trouble. And she could try to correct, if not, be thrown out. The person will be thrown out from school.
Did you go to religious school also?
Which?
Hebrew school? Did you
Yes,
say?
we had a Bet Jacob school, 3 hours every day. This was private,
Where was it?
also in our town. And we learned about the religion, translation, Chumash. We started already Hebrew grammar and things. We had an excellent teacher in Krakow, in Surische Nierer seminar. And she gave us so much of herself that she always was standing before my eyes in those bitter days like pure crystal. The way she translated the scripture, in the way she was talking about all this happening to the Jewish nation, and famous people, it stayed forever.
What did your brothers do? What do you remember
My
about them?
brother, yes, my brother was a very capable young man. In fact, first he went out in our town in a different vicinity where there are yeshivas learning. I can't recall the name, but I know he was away a few years. Just like here, is more near the yeshivas. Over there was in a different area. He had to be there, sleep there. And this way he was learned. Also, he was interested in everything, politics, history, world history, everything. And besides all everything, he was very good-looking person, tall, slim, and he was chosen by the state to be in the cavalry. You had to have certain measurements or to be really perfect. In one way, it was something, but the other way, he went through a lot. We used to write to him letters to the army, because all in the army in these years already, some officers, higher ranks, already did certain discrimination which was very painful.
How?
They didn't let them go home to see them.
Go home to their families?
Yes, because others came. And they came up to us in around the village, and they loved my brother. And they said not only he's good, but he's a very nice person. And my father was very proud to have such a son, but he had to go to the army because he was so perfect.
What was did you have relations with non-Jewish people at your town? What were
Yes, we did business, my family, with the people around in the villages, and we trusted some of the people. We gave them merchandise, and next time they came, they paid, or they brought something from their farms. And we had a nice relationship with the people.
Did you go to school with people,
Yes,
students that weren't
yes.
Jewish?
Yes.
How did you get along?
Well, I was okay, except if I got a knock, I reported it.
What was a knock?
I don't know, just a knock. This is, we talk about very young teenage, just like that. So I tried the best.
What do you remember about the winters in Poland?
Oh yes, winters were heavy, a lot of snow and cold. We didn't open the window for 3 months, and there was a special stove for the winter, what we prepared a little coal, and as long we had what to give the coal, was okay, but when it went out, it was bad. And we managed, we got used to this weather, but the snow didn't disappear. The snow was hard. When you walk, you thought somebody walked behind you, was creeping like. And the family, the relationship was such, I don't know, I can't explain, but one thing I know, without much talking or telling, everyone in the family was like one and was ready to give away the life without any doubt for the other. Such a relationship without saying even a word. So close-knit and really very nice.
What do you remember about the summers?
In the summers, I used to run when it rained. I liked to run in the rain. And sometimes we had a lot of bridges in water. So one area was for the people to come and cool off. So sometimes was a mile or 2 away from the town. So I went a little to there with the neighbors. It was nice.
Did you have time to play during the summer?
Yeah.
What did you do?
we played. We played like ball, like the same like here. One whoever gets hit goes out. What do you call it?
Dodgeball?
Huh?
Dodgeball?
Yeah, we played.
Go swimming?
And, swimming, no, the water wasn't measured good enough. Only the people who swim well took chances.
Did you ever go to work with your father?
With my father, no, my father sometimes sent me to the bank with a check or what. In Europe was like this. The younger children was considered as they have to be more left alone to do their thing. And the older helped a little more.
When did things start to change?
Okay. The war started in September
What year?
1939. And the first, there was, by Warsaw took a little time till it was over.
What were the first signs? Did you notice earlier
There
in the
was-
30s?
Yes, we heard that the German are coming in and they are by Warsaw, and then the Polish government thought they're going to get some help from somebody, and they was fighting. And my brother, since he was still in the army, he was in Warsaw this time, and they bombarded a lot. And he had the horse, so he sit under the horse when the horse got killed with the bullets or bombarded. He ran into a building. So when he ran out from the building, each time it happened, which building he ran out, it fell upon. And a lot of people in the army got defeated because they expected from someplace help, another country. It never came.
What was happening to you at home? Were you still at school?
I finished school already.
When did you finish school?
I finished school before the war,
How old were you?
14.
And what did you do when you finished school at 14?
What I did, it was like in school I thought another girl who was the top student was a Polish girl, very poor girl, very nice girl. She was sitting in front of me,
Do you remember her name?
Zosia. And she was the top student, and I was the second. So I was having such thoughts. Oh, she won a scholarship to a gymnasium next town, which was the name Sieradz. You had to go with a bus. And she was wearing a special uniform. It was nice. So I said, oh, if I could only be accepted, but my Jewish children didn't get scholarships.
No?
No. So
What did you do?
my sister became a dressmaker. She learned in Lodz, and she was already making money on this. She had people coming, children, so I was learning, and
She taught you?
yeah, and I learned, and I was helping her. So I kept busy, and besides, I went to the library. I always liked to read something.
Were things changing in your town around then? Were relationships with Jewish and non-Jewish people changing?
When the German came in, we didn't know what to expect. In the beginning, where we lived, we stayed, and later they moved the people together in a few streets, and this is called the ghetto,
When did that happen?
1940. So we are not supposed to go out.
Who told you?
We was told not to go out. It was not wiring, but it was assigned. But there
Were there
was,
soldiers around?
in the beginning, nothing was yet so tight. But then we had contact with the people from before.
Which
And
people?
they, from the villages, who used to be our customs. So we was also combined one house to next house, in like separate but still combined by a fence with other families. So they was not Jewish. So these people, they wanted to see us, to come to us. So they went through their area and they come to our house in the beginning. And we gave them merchandise, they gave us food. So this was in the beginning.
Did you not have a lot of food?
So far, as long I was home in our town, we had, because when we was evacuated, the beginning, they said they're going to bomb the city, the whole town had to evacuate. So we evacuated also the whole family. We never knew what we're going to find when we come back. In fact, some people's houses was all ruined, bombarded.
Early on, though, what was the Warna Ghetto
It was-
like?
Oh, in the ghetto.
What was it like?
It was organized labor, and every day we went to a shop and we was working.
Who did you go with?
I went the same place where my sister that was sewing and doing everyday work
For who?
for the German. And meanwhile, things changed.
Where was your father? Was he working?
No, he didn't. Meanwhile, things start changing. And at night, the Gestapo used to come in the house and look for men. We had a hiding place behind a very big closet. We make a double wall.
In your house?
Yeah. So in the last minute sometimes there was a possibility to hide there.
Did you have to hide in there?
If they was looking for men, then they start looking also for girls to take away to the concentration camps.
About the hiding place in the closet? Who made it?
We did it. My father was very handy also, and
How big was it?
one time, we didn't know whom they getting, girls or men. So if the men jumped out from the window and went to the garden or something, but I was left there with my sister Golda. And my mother said, if they come in, they see nobody, it's going to be bad. Maybe she stay. Maybe she stay in the house. And
Golda?
they come in and they're going to ask, where is everybody? She's not going to say nothing. But this is a very painful memory. So I think it was my brother escaped to the garden. My father, my sister, Golda. By then already, we have lost a younger sister. This was the first tragedy. When, can I go back? Okay. When we came back from the evacuation, when we returned to our town, my sister Sharna and I both got sick, fever in the same time. And it took long. And the doctor, who was a very good doctor, he didn't come back yet because he ran far. He was a Jewish person, a young man. And he went further, like to Warsaw. It took time to come back. So we didn't have really a doctor to help us something. Anyway, I came out of it, and she never came out. Very high fever, and we couldn't do much. I remember we were so close. I went out on the balcony and I spoke to God and begged, please take me. She is so gorgeous. She is so fine. Please take me, let her live, because she was special.
Were you able to have a burial?
Yes, she is the only in the family. Everybody went separate. She's the only in town, in our town. She had the burial. And the neighbors, the Polish neighbors, they believe that you leave a person 2-3 days. But Jewish people, everything is the same day. And they knew my sister. She was 12 and a half. She was known for a special child. And they said to us, what did you do? What did you do? You bury her so fast. This cannot be it. It's not true. They was talking to us this way because they knew, everybody knew my sister. And I had dreams a long time. And this was the first tragedy which left on me a mark for the whole life. What happened later, each time, was very painful. But I lost a friend, I lost a sister. I started feeling kind of lonely. We used to sing together songs. We used to run. And my mother was a pious person. She worried only if whoever should have a Shabbos, what they need in town. And she went visit sick people. One time she took me, and I saw how thankful the people was. She bring them something. And what I saw this day for the whole life.
Were you able to celebrate the Shabbos in the ghetto?
Yeah, we did the best. We did the best. Now, my mother was a pious woman, and she loved the youngest child like. She was very, very happy with her because she was a very beautiful, nice child. My mother said like this, God in heaven, I'm not going to cry. Give me back my son. Let me see my son. I accept your will, but I would like to see my son. The same day, we were sitting Shiva. In the afternoon, people running to the house with news. A young man also who knew my brother. is coming back to this village, and he sends regards. Abraham is alive, and he will come. The same day. This I never forget. So this was a little comfort for my mother. But we had to be very careful how to handle this situation, because myself and my little sister, we came after 10 years. So like we was the little ones in the family. So the brother showed us a lot of attention, because he was already later on, he was in the big city, he had a job before. We could not break the news to him. So we took him, we had relatives in town. So first we took him to the relatives to postpone the bad news. But later we had no choice, we had to go home. And he saw somebody is missing. He just was very hard for him to take it. Unbearable.
What was happening to the people in the ghetto around that time? Were people being taken away? Were people being taken away, men and women?
Yeah, there was, sometimes they came orders. We had their headquarters with SS. It came orders from the higher places. They have to bring an amount of men, this is a certain amount, or girls, young girls, young women, young girls. But this was secret, we didn't know. So one time, there was girls. So we had another hiding place, so my sister was hiding, and I
Where was that?
This was not the same, a different one. And she had to go up a ceiling, and it was covered.
In your house?
It was not in my house, downstairs, someplace was done. Anyway, I ran with my nightgown. We had a friend, she was also a customer. She liked a lot the whole family. So this was early in the morning, and I ran through the fences quick to her. And across from, she was as like a small farm with cows, a horse, but not very big. And across from her was a mill for what used to turn. Yeah, okay. So I came to her, and she also had to think quick what to do with it. She put me behind a closet, just behind, nothing. Meanwhile, we heard later some other young girls around, and they hide in the mill, in the windmill, inside. So it didn't take long, they came. And she was a nice-looking woman, too. She said, nobody's here. So they looked in, they didn't go in. But later, I heard what happened.
What?
This was Friday. They took a few girls out of the windmill. They took them. I had a relative, my mother's a brother, a very well-off person. They had 5 girls and 2 sons. I don't know how it was exactly, if the others was home or not. I know that the two youngest was there. And they took at once both of them. So my aunt begged them, leave me the youngest child. She was teenage already, very lively, beautiful girl. And she begged them, and she tried so hard they should not take both. But nothing held. And then this woman where I was, the Polish woman, went in the ghetto to ask my mother what to do. This was earlier, so she said, later, before the Sabbath, before it gets very dark, I should come back. So my mother prepared Friday night usually, by us Sabbath. She did what she could. And my father, but no singing this Friday night. We ate quietly, whatever. And we felt very sorry what happened. No singing, hardly anybody was speaking. Never saw my cousins again.
Do you know what happened to them?
Then one night they came and they took my brother. There was no escape. A brother whom we all love so much, the only son, such a beautiful person. They took more people in the city. And they sent them to the Polish camps in Poznań, near Poznań. And we heard such horrible things from these camps.
What did they tell you?
There's no words to describe. And I remember running in the streets from the ghetto and crying bitterly. My brother, my dear brother. Okay, so this is the second tragedy. We still had to go on.
What was happening in your town? Were there hangings? And were there hangings?
Yeah. Then was Purim one time. This was the same year, maybe.
Which year?
Maybe 42 Purim, yeah. I think maybe Purim, the same year. It came an order. They have their headquarters. Everything comes orders. That they should take the most important people, and 10 people should be hanged. They took the roof and the sons. They took the director from the school, from the Besyakov, also the same Stiebel, very beautiful person. Anybody who was really more known, they took. They did not know a night before, otherwise they maybe would hide or what. They came in the middle of the night and they took them. These people had families and they had children. So somebody told me, and I was there, when it came the day,